Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful British Columbia, the westernmost province of Canada. I'm in the capital, Victoria. I hope everybody is having a great weekend so far. I hope you're all staying healthy, staying strong, getting some fresh air. Welcome, Navpreet. Thank you for joining our group of members. Hi, Ois, Viji, Jasur, good to have Layla, many of our students joining us right now. That's fantastic. Proud Nerd, when is your test date? All right, everyone. Right now we are looking at IELTS Speaking Part 3, the challenging part of the speaking interview, but you can get a band 9, and I'm going to show you how and what you need to do. While we wait for a few more of our students to get into this class, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. All of the materials content can be found on our websites. For General IELTS, visit gieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. We separate the academic and the general to two websites because they're different groups of people that need either general or academic, and the tests are 50% different, which is quite significant. So you need to do that. Okay. All right. Oh, you sat. Okay, Proud Nerd, I thought you said you sat, S-A-T. You sat your IELTS exam. You finished it. Okay, well, I hope it went really well. All right, everyone. This is our academic IELTS website here with the blue background. Click that big red button to join our premium package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. This is our general IELTS here with the green background at gieltshelp.com. Click that big red button to join us there. You can practice your speaking on our website with other students. You have a My Student account that you can use to log in to get computer-based practice exams, a full online course, exam books, study plans, lesson videos, audio CDs, even more services, and student partner speaking. We are world leaders when it comes to online IELTS preparation. MD Hamidul is still here waiting for somebody to video and audio chat, so check that out and ping another student to begin speaking with them. All right, students, let's get into today's lesson here. My IELTS Band 9 Journey, Episode 5, coming up tomorrow at this time, premiering on our channel. Apps, Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help, and email if you want to get in touch with me. Adrian at aehelp.com. All right. I see some congratulations on our Academic English Help channel. I'm guessing somebody did a good job on their IELTS exam. That's quite good. All right. Raman Mavi says, Sir, I scored 8 bands in my speaking. My exam was on the 11th. Tons of hearts to me. Raman, that's so awesome. Thank you. Congratulations. Send me an email. I would love to get your testimonial. That's fantastic. Great job. Yogesh, welcome to the class. Yeah, I saw your question before. If you don't have a surname on your passport, should you speak your full name even then? Nope, you can say the name that's in your passport, Yogesh. So if you only have one name in your passport, use the name that you have in your passport. And you can also tell the person, like, I do have another name, it's just not officially recorded in my passport, and that's fine. All right, so right now, speaking part 3, this challenging part, but that's okay. You can still get a high score, like Raman, band 8. That's super good. Okay. No classes tomorrow and Monday, Tuesday. Of course, we do have that premiering video tomorrow. And then on the 29th on Wednesday, we've got speaking part 1. And then here's our schedule for the following week. So lots going on, not to worry. Always lots going on our channel and our posts and, of course, on our websites. Tons of learning. Okay. Let me just grab this speaking part 3. It seems I've missed grabbing it, but no worries. We'll grab that in 2 seconds. This speaking part 3 is following from our speaking part 2 that we just did, and that was a business idea. So the part 3 questions are related to the part 2 cue card that we just did in the last class, which was this one right here. It was IELTS speaking part 2, talk about a business idea that you have had, and we just talked about opening up an e-bike shop, an electric bike shop. So the examiner is going to ask you questions that are connected to your part 2 response, okay? So basically, what the examiner will say once you finish your part 2 is they will say, that is the end of part 2. Now we will continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you a question or two connected to your response and some questions related to this topic. While you're giving your part 2 speech, talking about e-bikes, the examiner will think of a question or two to ask you. What kind of a question do you think the examiner might ask after you talk to them about your business idea about opening an electric bike shop? Okay, what do you think they might ask you? They might ask you something like this. For instance, what kind of advertising have you done to promote your e-bike shop? Okay, they might ask you some question like that. Ois is asking a good question. Why do people prefer e-bikes more than the classic bikes in your district? Yeah, so why do you think people prefer to ride e-bikes rather than traditional pedal bikes in your area? Okay, so those could be some questions. Yeah, Ois, absolutely. That's a good question. I've thought about that, right? Why are people riding e-bikes? Why don't they just ride the traditional bike? I mean, those are quite good. Okay. All right. So let's answer these. Just to warm up our speaking muscles, let's answer these questions. So what kind of advertising have you done to promote your store? Okay. Now again, visualize, think, be clever, okay? So give me a nice full sentence answer to this question. What kind of advertising have you done? It's present perfect, right? Have you done to promote your store? Okay, give me a full sentence answer. So what type of marketing? Another way to say advertising, paraphrasing, is marketing. Okay. And Janelle, by the way, in past exams, they have asked the question about a business person. So talk about a business person that you know. And they've also asked this question, talk about a business idea that you have had or that you have seen. So both of these questions have appeared in past exams, just kind of reflecting in your previous request, okay? All right. For the students watching the General English Help channel, you jump right in there, okay? So get in there and ask some questions, all right? Okay, I'm going to give an answer to this question. Let's see if yours matches with mine. Okay, so All right. So there's my answer. Let's take a look at what you've come up with, and then we will compare. Okay. There we go. Let me just, I don't like this font. I don't like Times New Roman. It's a little bit harder on the eyes. There we go. That's my preferred font. Okay. It's maybe a bit much. All right. So, let's see. Nagame An says, I had collaborated with a friend of mine who is a PR expert. I asked him to create a video which included the advantages of riding an e-bike, and that video generated 10% more in my monthly profit. Very nice. I love the quantitative, I love the original, I love the descriptive. That's really good, and that's what you want to do for speaking part 3 band 9s, is you want to be descriptive, you want to be original, you want to have answers, explanations, and examples. Newt Bandage says, I use data first to collect what customer behavior nowadays is, and think about how to create an effective way, like buy 2 bikes, get 1 free for people who need a bike. Okay, Nut, that's good. So you're doing some market research, and then you are creating your campaigns accordingly. Layla says, I have done online advertising using different social media platforms, such as Instagram and Facebook. By creating blogs and promoting on my special networks, it drives quick exposure to my business. Very nice, Layla. I like it. That's great. I love the originality. Notice how each student has a unique answer. Very good. Angun says, when I had started, I had been giving out flyers to passersby in front of my store. I also have done some online advertising on social media, such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Okay, very good, Angun. So bringing in the flyers and the brochures. Flyers and brochures are those little pieces of paper with different kinds of promotion. That's awesome. Nick Hill, well, I have printed thousands of flyers for the promotion of my e-bike store, as well as renting 20 billboards around the city on the streets. On top of that, I used social media apps like Facebook and WhatsApp. Nick Hill, that's brilliant. You know what? I bet you if anybody's watching that has an e-bike shop, they just got some good ideas from you, because a billboard would be a brilliant way to advertise e-bikes. I would put up a billboard or a poster on a billboard that says, tired of being stuck in traffic, and then just show somebody on an e-bike ripping past a car that's stuck in traffic. Students, billboards are the large signs that you see on the street. Okay, so that's called a billboard. Thank you for that vocabulary, Nick Hill. So billboard, large signs you see outside, often along highways on the side of the road. Yeah, and definitely if you saw, if you're stuck in an hour-long traffic and you look and you see a billboard that says, stuck in traffic, question mark, and then you see an e-bike with somebody just like zooming past, get an e-bike at Nick Hill's e-bike shop. That would be a very effective medium for an e-bike advertising. Absolutely. Sometimes these days I kind of wonder, like, what's the use of those billboards? But yeah, for e-bikes, that would be a good one. Definitely. Clever thinking, Nick Hill. Good visualization. That's the kind of thinking that will get you those high band scores. Okay. Arda, that's good. Arda's like, but sir, I mentioned billboards as well. Yeah. So anybody who thought of billboards, good for you. That's clever thinking. Absolutely. Okay. All right. I can definitely see that. So here's the question again. Just repeat after me. Again, remember, this is speaking, so it's good that you're writing. Also speak and repeat. So make sure to speak and repeat. Okay. Very useful. Aloud. Hopefully you're in a place where you can use that loud voice. So here we go. What kind of advertising have you done to promote your store? I have done both virtual advertising, such as promotions on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, with different sales and promotions like buy 2 bikes and get the third at half price. Also, I have done community promotions like organizing a ride to work week in September where I rented bikes to people in my community. Okay, and then of course billboards in other ways. So that's fantastic. Okay. Yogesh says, I have made several campaigns in educational institutions with our marketing team, which regularly have an eye on the trends and consider people's interests as well. We made our products more attractive and convenient by automatizing our products' popularity among people through virtual advertising. Okay, very nice answer, Yogesh. Few corrections there. Yeah, Arda, don't be too jealous, okay? Hi, Kyber. All right, so here we go. And then the examiner might ask you one more question. Like, why do you think people prefer to ride e-bikes rather than traditional pedal bikes in your area? Okay, give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. So the examiner might ask you, what kind of advertising have you done? And then they might ask you another question like, why do you think people like to ride electric bikes instead of the traditional pedal bike in your area? Give me a full sentence answer for this question. Okay. So maybe I'll start with something like, I've actually asked this question from some of our customers. All right, maybe that would be a suitable answer. Let's see what Ois says. Ois says, most individuals in my town are elderly, so an e-bike is more convenient and suitable for their ages. Also, an e-bike is fast. It can get up to 50 kilometers per hour. Yeah, very good. So Ois, that's where you can use the not only, but also, right? Arda says, as I mentioned in part 2, e-bikes are much faster than classic bikes, and they don't make the rider tired in the long distance. Everyone will prefer an e-bike, not a traditional bike, because of this. Okay, Arda, remember, don't say you. Okay, I know it's easy to slip into that you, but really work hard to avoid the you. All right. Ranjit says electric bikes are comfortable and stylish compared to traditional pedal bikes. All right, Ranjit. Yes, they do look quite stylish. Very interesting response. works. It's a little bit simple. You definitely want to give more detail and more elaborate responses for those Band 8, Band 9 scores overall. But it's okay, Ranjit, if you have one or two responses that are a little bit shorter. You can still get a really great score, okay? All right. So Jasur says, because it is one of the new types of transport and also it's very comfortable for elderly people. Kulwinder says, bikers want to enjoy biking without getting tired, so they prefer an e-bike instead of a pedal bike, which is a bit tougher. Yeah, absolutely. So this is my answer here. Again, repeat after me. So why do you think people prefer to ride e-bikes rather than traditional pedal bikes in your area? I've actually asked this question from some of our customers. The most common reasons are that there are many hills in our area, so it helps to have the electric engine, especially when going to work, so that the riders do not get exhausted and sweaty when they arrive into the office. Now, does everybody know the meaning of exhausted? And does everybody know the meaning of sweaty? Okay. So do you know what it means to be exhausted? Do you know what it means to be sweaty? So what are the definitions of that? Okay. Artist says exhausted means to be very tired, especially physically very tired, right? So we can be mentally exhausted too. Often we use the word exhausted to meaning physically very tired or low on energy. Exactly, low on energy. Natalie says sweaty means wet from our body. There's actually another way to say sweaty. Anybody know what the other word, the more academic word is for sweaty? So what is the more academic word for sweaty? It starts with a P. Let's see if anybody can think of it. So exhausted, yeah, very tired. Oh, Muhammad Husanaliev says to perspire. Yes, very good. Perspiration. Exactly. Very good, Nageman. Okay, it's also called perspiration. So many of you know the meaning for exhausted, and many of you know the meaning for sweaty. That's right, Yogesh. Exhausted means to be very tired physically. Okay, so here's my question. Why didn't many of you use exhausted and sweaty? So when you're thinking about electric bikes versus traditional or classic pedal bikes, why didn't many people use the word to not get exhausted and to not be sweaty? So why didn't many candidates use the vocabulary sweaty and exhausted? Okay. This is my kind of question to you. So Arta says it's not natural. It's definitely natural. So you would often hear an English speaker, I'm sure, saying exhausted, okay, and sweaty. So why didn't I see those words coming up in the chat all that often? Okay. Yeah, very good, An. So Negayman says, because I think those words use more imagination and more visualization. And that's the truth. They're actually formal. So Navpreet, the word exhausted is definitely a formal term. Sweaty may be a little bit not so much, but it is, yeah. So because I think, maybe I'm wrong, but this is what I think, because I think many candidates did not see themselves pedaling a traditional bike for 40 kilometers uphill. Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, Okay, so if you did see that, so if you saw yourself going up a hill for 20 kilometers, sweating and just really tiring yourself out going to the office, if you saw that, great, then you're on the right track. Then just think about how to describe that with the right words. If you didn't see that, though, then that's where you're missing an important element of good communication, okay? Is you have to think before you speak. And thinking before you speak means not thinking necessarily about the grammar and the vocabulary, but thinking about the content. So actually visualizing the content of the question. Okay? All right? Okay, Arda says tired comes to people's minds first. Arda, that's a good argument, and I'm going to talk about that, okay? So, good, okay? So here, the tip, and Arda, I like what you just said there, so I'll definitely speak to that, okay? So here, you want to think before you speak. And this is that age-old wisdom, right? So this means not just English vocabulary and grammar, but also the actual content. Okay? So, for example, riding a classic pedal bike up a 5-kilometer hill to your office or school. Okay? You don't go to work. All right, so now Arda said something clever, and I agree with that. So Arda says, yeah, okay, but the first word that comes to my mind is tired, okay? So, and that's a valid argument, Arda. So Arda says, yes, okay, but the first word that comes to mind is tired, okay? And that's a very valid argument, Arda. So, okay, tired. All right. So what you want to do, and it's totally okay, Arda, to have that as the first word coming to mind. So what you want to do is think, is there a more specific, accurate, and detailed term to describe this situation? Perhaps an idiom. Or phrasal verb. Okay. So, Arda, that's absolutely what you want to do at home. So when you're practicing for the speaking section, specifically part 3, okay, especially part 3, where grammatical range and lexical resource become much more important for those high band scores, you have to go one step beyond and go, okay, tired is the first word, but the English vocabulary is massive, okay? There's, I think, 1.6 million English words in everyday use now. And there are really specific words in English for feelings, emotions, situations. So if you can't find them, use the thesaurus, do a bit of research online, and look for those more specific words. Yeah, so Nick Hill is saying, for example, exhausted could be paraphrased by worn out, okay, is the phrasal verb. Very good, Nick Hill, okay? All right, make sure to practice this at home. Okay. Arda says, I'm knackered. Knackered is good. Arda, knackered also means exhausted. We use that as like tired in the sense of I want to go to sleep as well. Okay. Okay. So let's see. So, here we go. I'm not sure, Huang Yuan, what you're referring to. Just send me an email with the full question and the example, and then I'll figure that out and respond, okay? All right. So let's go to a bit more of part 3. So now the examiner will say, okay, Now I'll ask you some more questions related to the topic of part 2. Let's talk more about business. So let's talk more about business. What is the advantage of owning a business instead of working for an employer? So why do that, right? So again, visualize. Picture yourself going into your own company. Picture yourself going into somebody else's store or company and working for them in some position. Okay? Vicky, dehydrated means not as much water in your body as you should have, so lacking water. Dehydrated. Hydros means water, I believe from Greek and Latin originally. Okay. You are very welcome, Lola. I appreciate your feedback. That's great. I'm happy that it's useful for you and the students. All right. Chabi says, good to see you in the class, Chabi. So Chabi says, working as an employee is appealing and opens up more room for other activities like enrolling in politics, especially with the financial support that comes from the business. Working as an employer. Okay, Chabi. So an employer is somebody who gives people jobs. An employee, Chabi, means that you're actually working for somebody. So you would do very badly on that question because you have information confusion. Be really careful. And an employee is somebody who works for a company. Employer is somebody who gives jobs. But even an employer might not be the owner of the business. Okay, so somebody in an HR department can be an employer, but they're not necessarily the business owner. So be careful with those words, all right? Oa says, owning a business has many advantages. An owner is more independent and most of the profits enter his or her pockets. Also, the owners can get a tax benefit from the government. And they can pick up loans easily if they have a successful store like my e-bike business. Okay, it's very good. Good points. Connect to your part 2. Like my e-bike business. Last week I got another $20,000 loan for a big marketing campaign and it was no problem. All right, so make more connections there. All right. Oh, Chabi. Sorry, Chabi says you read the second part only. Okay, sorry, Chabi. I'll take a look again. All right, let's take a look at Chabi's again. So before criticizing, here we go. Chabi says, from a business perspective, starting a personal project with revenues is a great achievement that will return positively on the both financially and mentally. The freedom of working for oneself anytime as opposed to working as an employee is appealing and opens up more room for other activities like enrolling in politics, especially with the financial support that comes from the business. Chabi, that's a fantastic response there. Yes, it was very confusing to only see it. That's because in the chat, that first part was already gone, but I found it, so good job, Chabi. I take back what I said. All right, nicely done. It's pretty hard to catch every comment like that, Chabi. Believe me. I'm sure as you're looking at the chat, you can imagine thinking about the lesson, what I'm saying, giving you the right advice, and catching the flow of your comments is a challenging task indeed. All right, Asibek Akbarov, hello, and welcome to the class. Okay. Lei Tao V says, running a person's own company not only increases their income many times over, but also helps them to become independent. They are more free to decide when to take vacations and when to work hard. Okay, Lei Tao V, it's a good answer. Notice how I corrected parts of your response. Especially, I took out the you and the your. Students, this is a really, really common mistake. I know some of you have heard me say this 100 times, but you probably hear me say it again because as you can see, people make this mistake all the time. So do not use you and you're in your speaking. It is often inaccurate and lowers your band score because it is poor communication and leads to lack of coherence, cohesion, and fluency. Okay, so don't use that you and that your. Gagan, love back at you in India there. All right, Sarag, us 9. Very nice to have more and more students coming into our General English Help YouTube channel as well. That's fantastic. All right, so what is the advantage of owning a business instead of working for an employer? The clear benefits of being self-employed are both opportunity for more income and freedom over one's own schedule. What I mean by this is that with a business, each month, a person can increase profits, but people or employees only get a pay raise once or twice in a year. As well, a business owner can take time off as they see fit, but a worker must earn vacation time and request for time off. Okay, so here we go. And then I might even throw in that personal example, smooth example. Otherwise, the examiner will interrupt you, especially if you're not fluent. Okay, so you might say something like, in fact, I took 3 days off last week from my bike store to join my cousin's wedding in Goa. Okay, let's just say. All right, so here we go. Repeat after me. What is the advantage of owning a business instead of working for an employee? The clear benefits of being self-employed are both opportunity for more income and freedom over one's own schedule. What I mean by this is that with a business, each month a person can increase profits, but employees only get a pay raise once or twice in a year. As well, a business owner can take time off as they see fit, but a worker must earn vacation time and request for time off. In fact, I took 3 days off last week from my bike shop to join my cousin's wedding in Goa and did not have to ask for permission. Okay. All right, so notice some important elements in this response that help you to get that Band 8, Band 9 score, okay? First of all, I've got some really good paraphrasing, so I'm showing my lexical resource mark, clear benefit, advantage, owning a business, being self-employed, okay? Now I'm using correlative conjunction, both opportunity, okay, and freedom. So both point 1 and point 2, emphasizing those two advantages of owning one's own business. As well, some simple natural language, such as take time off as they see fit. Okay, so see fit is idiomatic language, it's natural language, it's professional language. It works well, okay? And then I have my example here, okay? My smooth flowing example. So I have an answer, an explanation, an example, and I'm using some really nice diverse vocabulary, grammatical structure, and natural language to boost the score to that very good expert level of the exam. Okay? All right, L Center, have a great day. Hashnain, yeah, these lectures are definitely available on the channel. Thanks for asking about that. All right. Okay. So here we go with the next question. Okay. What are the negatives? So the IELTS examiners will ask you questions in part 3 that are conversational, meaning that they are follow-up questions. They continue from each other. So the first question is, what are the advantages of owning a business? And then the next one is, what are the negatives? And that, of course, means, what are the negatives of owning a business, right? So what are the negatives of owning a business? All right. Jaineel says, well, maybe if people do not run their business well, especially in management and advertising, they would be in debt. And this is one of the deficits of being self-employed, not working self-employed. We don't say that, Jaineel. We say being self-employed. Furthermore, they can compromise their well-being, a lower quality of lifestyle due to debt. Think further, Jaineel, stress, right? So it can lead to a lot of stress. When you own a business, arguably, you have more responsibility to yourself and to others, those people who are working for you. Okay? All right. Welcome to our group of members, Nut Bandich. I hope I'm pronouncing that more or less correctly. Thanks for joining. Send me an email so I can hook you up with your perks, Nut. That's awesome. Okay, Chow K Tron says they're up to their ears in work all the time and have a wide scope of knowledge and have wide interpersonal skills. Chow, what are the negatives, right? So being up to work or being up to their ears in work, that could be a negative. Explain that a little bit clearly. Okay, Navpreet says responsibility and stress. Navpreet, put that in a full sentence. Give an explanation. It's a good idea. Put it in a full sentence. Okay. Muhammad Hussein Aliyev says, well, the cons of it is that most people... you retracted your message. That's why I didn't see it. Suddenly it disappeared. Muhammad, it was good. It started really well. The cons, I think that was good. Ois says, owning a business also has some hazards because it is part of an economic circle. Therefore, owners have a persistent fear of bankruptcy and much more stress due to the pressures of competition and problems with employees. Yes, it's very true, Ois. So employees can be a source of stress for employers, definitely. Hoang Nguyen says, despite some advantages, being an employer comes with more responsibilities. One might face tougher decisions and suffer more from stress if the business is not doing well. Hoang, yeah, very good. Throw in a personal example as well to make it really effective. Okay, very nice. So what are the negatives? Certain deficits of running a company include greater responsibility and financial pressure that can lead to stress and sleepless nights. Also, owners have to worry about the well-being of their employees, and at times they may need to make some tough decisions. In fact, just last week, I had to fire an incompetent sales clerk, and it was tough to see the tears in their eyes as I gave them the bad news. Okay. Again, visual language, right? You're the owner. You have to go to this person and you have to say, I'm sorry, but it's not working out. You're going to have to find a new job. They might have children. They might have family. They might be in a difficult situation, but you have no choice, because if you keep them, your business will suffer, and then you will suffer, and your other employees will suffer, and then not just one person has to get fired, but maybe everybody has to get fired. So decisions, right? It can be tough choices in life, and definitely running a business is no exception. Now, the way that you come up with that is you visualize it, right? You visualize it. So what are the negatives? Repeat after me. Well, certain deficits of running a company include greater responsibility and financial pressure that can lead to stress and sleepless nights. Also, owners have to worry about the well-being of their employees, and at times they may need to make some tough decisions. Now here, my example is my explanation as well. In fact, just last week, I had to fire an incompetent sales clerk, and it was tough to see the tears in their eyes as I gave them the bad news. So there you go. Very visual, right? Very, very visual. Okay. All right. And if you're doing a good job of your speaking, the examiner might kind of go to another topic that's still related to part 2. So they might say something like, let's discuss work and career. Yes, I am teaching DDGH. Yeah, teaching IELTS speaking part 3. Just a reminder for those of who are joining in. Vicky is asking, what does it mean to say see fit? See fit means appropriate or acceptable in the situation. Okay, acceptable, appropriate. So, okay, so I see fit to answer this question. It means that I think it's acceptable to answer this question. It's okay to answer this question. See fit. Very nice question. See fit is not only a phrasal verb, but it's definitely an idiom as well. Okay, so the examiner will say, let's discuss work and careers. Many people have 3 or more careers in their lifetimes. Why is this common? You hear this often from people. Oh, my dad had one job his whole life. But nowadays, people have many jobs. So many people have 3 or more careers in their lifetimes. Why is this common? So why is it common for people to have so many careers? Okay. Yeah, Chubby, they did, the examiner did ask me a couple of questions on a different topic in my speaking. Good question. So yeah, they started with what are popular places in my city to go visit, and then or what are popular places in the city, and then they switched to the topic was just give me a second, it'll come back to me. The switched topic was designing cities. So what are ways that people are designing cities these days, and why? So those were the 2 kind of subtopics. So popular places in cities and city design. Those were that was the 2 subtopics. So yes, they did. Okay. All right. So people may have 3 or more jobs, and Proud Nerd says it helps them to increase their revenue. Give me an explanation, Proud Nerd. What do you mean? If I have 3 or more jobs, I increase my revenue. Give me an example. Okay. Tushar, in good communication, eye contact is important. It's not mandatory, but it's a good idea because it helps your communication. Okay? All right. Muhammad Farhad is asking, can we start with well, as per my opinion? If the question is about your opinion, you can, but don't just say it. Okay? All right. Muhammad Husanialev says, generally speaking, it has become something like brushing your teeth because during the lifetime we have a lot of options which come our way, and it is a bit difficult to choose one of them. Okay, that's a good start, but you want to explain that, right? So our preferences change. We get bored of one job. We want a new and exciting career. So we upgrade or we change career paths so that we get more enjoyment and fulfillment. I started my work as a researcher after university. I found it very boring sitting in an office crunching data, so I changed and became a language teacher instead because I enjoy communicating with people. Okay, so give it that example. All right. Disha says, sometimes people don't take up careers what they're passionate about and they tend to lose interest later on and then they change careers. Exactly, Disha. So whether for more money or for excitement, people often will change their jobs every few years. Fortunately, there are lots of job opportunities that come people's way throughout their lives. So this is a bit easier nowadays than in the past. I started as a carpenter a decade ago. Then I became a sales manager, and now I run my own company. Okay. So again, that smooth flowing example is very, very important. Nut Bandish says, I think one career in a lifetime sometimes is risky as it can be canceled anytime, like in Thailand, restaurants and department stores closed due to COVID, and now many people have to find different jobs. Okay, Nut Bandich, it's not bad, but you're kind of going off topic, so you're not really explaining clearly why people have many careers. So losing a job is one reason, but you want to get into clear, more explanations, okay? It's not a bad start, okay? All right, so here is the question again, and then my answer. Speak and repeat. Many people have 3 or more careers in their lifetimes. Why is this common? Whether for more money or for excitement, people will often change their jobs every few years. Fortunately, there are lots of job opportunities that come people's way throughout their lives. So this is a bit easier nowadays than in the past. I started as a carpenter a decade ago. Then I became a sales manager, and now I run my own company. I love what I do, and I'm making more money than ever before. There you go. That is your Band 9 answer. Jainil, that is a very good answer also. All right. Okay, students, so here are some more questions that you can practice on your own using our websites. You can find a speaking partner by clicking on Student Partner Speaking. The websites look like this. This is the Academic IELTS website here. You can click these big red buttons to join our premium package. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access. Doesn't cost very much. Tons of great materials for you there. Videos, practice exams, and much more. This is our general IELTS exam. Again, click that button. We are an IELTS registration center. We are certified IELTS agents, and we help thousands of students every single day. In fact, just in these live lessons, we've helped thousands of students. So have a lovely rest of your weekend, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me in the lessons today. Hopefully, I'll see you back here next week, Wednesday. And don't forget, tomorrow we have the premiere of my Band 9 IELTS Journey, Episode 5, the EOR, Inquiry on Results, or the remarking. So I'll explain some important points about that in that lesson. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember, you're all beautiful, lovely people. Be confident, be proud of yourself. Love yourself, then you can love others around you. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from British Columbia, Victoria, Canada. Bye for now.